Hey guys, Chef Luis Sanchez here. Today I'm going to show you how to make an aioli. And the point of this recipe is basically that Thanksgiving is 2 weeks away, and this is a great way to flavor your turkey. Right after you brine your turkey, if you are one of those that brines it like myself, you want to dry it nicely and then rub it with this aioli that I'm going to show you. You want to get under the skin, flip the turkey and do it all over the place, and then put it in the oven. So it's awesome. This aioli can also be used for sandwiches and even just about as a salad dressing to top fish, potato salad, and different things. So please watch it and enjoy. Alright, you're lucky today because I'm going to show you something that it's very simple and you can use for anything. It's going to be an aioli. What is an aioli? That's a big discussion. So originally an aioli is a Spanish term, and it's basically, nowadays we think of it as a mayonnaise, but it was an emulsification, which is just a thickening thing that happens when you add, in the case of aioli, good olive oil and garlic. So the original aioli from Spain is garlic that could be roasted or not, and olive oil, and then you mix it together in a way that you get it to be airy and fluffy and sort of look like a mayo, and probably the flavor kind of resembles that. So and a mayonnaise is something that we make with eggs, and we use oil and then different things to make it. So now they're interchangeable, so I'm going to show you a way to make an awesome herb aioli that you can use for anything from sandwiches to, if you flavor it with certain things, you can use it to top a piece of fish, you can use it for potato salad, or you can even use it, like I want to show you today, to rub a chicken. And why I'm telling you this is because we're only 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving, and this herb aioli makes an awesome rub for your Thanksgiving turkey. Today I'm going to show you, eventually I'm going to show you how to make it with a chicken, but we're going to start making it today. So here we have some fresh parsley, and then we have some sage, which is a little bit of strong flavor, and then we have some oregano. So I love fresh herbs. I went to the store this morning and I could not locate fresh oregano, so I had some dry oregano, and we're gonna make it work. So one of the things about what I want to get across here, and why I'm doing this show, is to make you understand and get through you that if you don't have something, there's something else that you can work with. I would rather you do that than say, oh my God, I can't make this recipe because I don't have oregano. If I couldn't find the dry oregano, then I would still make it, because yes, it's gonna have no oregano, but still gonna taste good. And guess what? While you're making these things, the only person that knows that oregano that went in there is dry is you. When you bake something, herbs are gonna dry out, so the end flavor is gonna be very similar. But I wanted to show you and share that with you. Don't let anything stop you. I wanted you to keep cooking. Cooking is not hard. It's just getting over that first hump of like, oh my God, I don't want to do it. And then once you're more comfortable with it, start with recipes that are more comfortable and at your level, and maybe taste things yourself first. And then you're like, oh my God, that tastes pretty good. So then you can share it with your loved ones, your really loved ones first, because they're not going to be as judgy. And then eventually you can bring more people in. And then I feel like the life of the party always happens to be in the kitchen. So I just love being in the kitchen and parties, and because of what I do, they tend to ask me to do more things, but that's okay because I love doing it. So then the next item is going to be thyme, and then this is thyme, and there's a little trick, because for the most part, it is sort of a stem that's kind of dry, and you don't want to use the stem a lot of times, and you don't want to go up when you get the leaves out. You want to go down and against it. And then when you do that, you can really strip all the nice leaves of thyme out. I love this stuff. I use it a lot. I even use it with cocktails. When I make something with gin and lemon juice and simple syrup and thyme, it's a great cocktail to make. So we're going to get some of this thyme out. At the end of the day, we want to end up with about double the amount of parsley than the other herbs, because the other herbs are a little bit more powerful. So we will put a recipe on the bottom so you can follow up. But like I said, if you only have enough time for where you can just put a little bit of time, then do it. Don't let that limit you from making this recipe. So once we have the amount of time that we need, probably one more stem, then we're going to chop all this up together. And I will show you what I do or how I do it. And then we're going to make the aioli. But we're going to have the herbs right here. So we're going to group all these herbs, get a good knife, and then you're going to bunch them up together, and then you just want to run your knife through it. The first time you do this, you're not going to be done with it, so you're going to have to do it a couple of times, unless you want a coarse kind of chop in there. But we want to do this a few times. And like I said, depending on what your end product is, if I was gonna do something like a chicken or a turkey and rub it with this, I would probably stop around now. If I want to make a mayo that I can keep in the fridge and make sandwiches with it, I'd probably go a little bit more fine. But in general terms, herbs are tasty to me, and I don't mind chewing through my parsley a little bit. So I tend to keep them a little bit more rough. But I think right where we are for what we're doing today is good. I'm gonna place the herbs. Remember, this is thyme, oregano, parsley, and sage. And I'm gonna place these ingredients right here. And altogether we probably have about 2.5, 3 tablespoons of herbs. And then I'm gonna show you how to make the aioli. So aioli is an emulsification. And I wanna talk to you about not only how to make it, but what to use to make it. So this is an immersion blender. It's about a $30 investment on your part, and I will highly suggest it because it's easy to clean, it's light, and you can use it for this kind of thing, or you can use it to puree soups. You can use it for many things. Make pancake batter in the morning, whatever you want to use. It's sort of like a little hand blender, right? So in order to make an aioli, what is an aioli? It's sort of like oil that's flavored, that's been thickened with something. And we started with 1 egg. My egg was hiding underneath the herbs. Once again, like I showed you before, we want to crack the egg away from what we're using. And then in this case, I'm using, and don't tell the Ninja people this, so this is from my Ninja, because I couldn't find the cup that came with this, and that's okay. So we have Ninja, we have Cuisinart. If you guys want to sponsor me, Ninja, Cuisinart, I'm using both of your products. Here we have the egg. We're going to add some garlic. So this is just fresh garlic that I chopped up. We're going to add that into, in this case, the blender cup. I guess that's a good term for it. And a good amount of garlic, because this is what's going to flavor your aioli. And then we're going to add a little bit of mustard. I had some Dijon mustard. We're going to add about a tablespoon of it. If you only have yellow mustard, that's fine. If you have whole grain mustard, that's fine. I just happened to open the fridge and see this Dijon mustard, which I love. And then we're going to add some red wine vinegar, about 2 ounces. I'm going to add just 1 ounce at a time to make sure that I'm going to be emulsifying. And then I can always add a little bit more after. And we're going to add some salt. Not a lot of salt because mustard has a saltiness to it. And then at this point, we have our oil. We have about 2 cups in this bottle. We're going to turn our friend on here, and it might get a little bit loud, but the idea here is we're going to mix these ingredients, and then I'm going to drizzle the oil in there. And then you're going to see how that works. I'll try not to talk because you won't be able to hear me. And don't worry about the herbs. The herbs we're going to mix next. Really quick, this has a speed thing on top, so you want to be on high for now. See, we have a thick mixture here. We can most likely add the rest of our red wine vinegar in here. We're going to taste for salt, add the red wine vinegar, and then we're going to mix it with these herbs right here. I'm just going to set our immersion blender aside so it's not on our way anymore. And I'm going to bring our spatula back. First, I'm going to taste. I'm tasting for things like acidity from the vinegar. I'm tasting for things like salt. And I'm also probably going to gross you out because people, for some weird reason, get grossed out by people that eat mayo by the spoonful. This is not a spoonful, but I think it's pretty good. So remember, we're making this to rub our chicken or eventually our turkey for Thanksgiving. So it has to have that intensity. So it can use a little bit more acidity, but I think the salt level is fine. And I can definitely taste that mustard. So we added a little bit more red wine vinegar, and I'm just mixing it in here. And I'm going to add all this into the fresh herbs. And since our end game here is to rub our chicken, in this case, with this, we're going to add a little bit of room temperature butter. But this is a good point in which, let's say that you're going to save some for sandwiches because this is way too much for what we need. So I'm going to add the herbs. I'm going to separate some of it. I'm going to keep it in the fridge, and this will hold for about 2 weeks in your fridge, and you can use it for many, many things. Potato salad, like I said, sandwiches. So I'm going to add all of it. I'm going to separate half of it, and then when we come back, we're going to mix in the butter, and we're going to rub our chicken with it. So please stick around. I think you have to stick around. It's not like you're going to change channels on YouTube. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, welcome back. Here we are with chicken, but remember, this chicken, I purposely bought it today because it resembled a little tiny turkey. So this recipe that I'm showing you on the episode today is all about getting you ready for the best turkey dinner that you can have. So you're gonna have your turkey game with this recipe. People fry their turkey, it's awesome. People barbecue it, it's awesome. But there's something about your turkey being inside the oven and flavoring your whole house and that smell. I wish they would sell that. I'm gonna talk to the people of Glade, or what's another brand that does that? Airwick or something. I don't know, maybe they'll have a roasted. I bought a candle. Small story, has nothing to do with this, but I bought a candle and it said roasted turkey dinner. And it was awesome, and at points it kind of grossed me out, but it was awesome for the most part. So maybe there is that product out there. So anyway, going back to our recipe, aioli, herb aioli, right? So we're gonna add some butter to this. Why are we adding butter? Because it brings flavor to the game. So we have some butter that's softened here. I originally thought about half a stick, but judging the size of this chicken, we're probably gonna just use about a quarter of the stick. So we're gonna put this softened butter into our mix. And these are decisions that I want you to make. When you look at a book, when you watch somebody make something, and their chicken is twice the size of your chicken, or their fish is really thin and yours isn't, you can make those adjustments. Remember, this is your kitchen. You do whatever you want with it. So now that our butter is softened, it's gonna be pretty easy to mix it in there. If the spatula doesn't work for you and you want to use a fork, you can use a fork. Eventually, which I'm gonna show you in a couple of seconds here, we're gonna get our hands dirty. So I just want to loosen it up a little bit. If you have expensive jewelry on it and you don't want it to smell and or get dirty, you can take it off at this point. I'm gonna walk off camera for a second, and then we are going to rub our turkey. Or chicken, see? It looks so much like a turkey that I keep referring to it as a turkey. So one of the things I like to do is use a little paring knife and loosening up the skin. I don't know if you can see there. I'm gonna flip it over. So I just make little cuts here and I make little pockets here. And I never got grossed out by doing this, maybe because I've done it all my life since I was a kid, but there's people that get a little squeamish about it. But basically you're just getting in there and separating skin from breast. The driest part of the bird is gonna be the breast. So that's the one that needs the most help. Thighs and legs and even wings have a lot of flavor and fat running through them, so they're good. So in this case, we're gonna grab some of this mixture of the aioli and the butter, and we're gonna get underneath. And we're gonna get as close and as far in as we can. And don't be afraid, a lot of this is gonna melt, and you're not really gonna be eating a lot of it. And then we're gonna rub, and by the looks of it, again, we're gonna have some extra. So you can freeze this, and you can reuse it for another time. So I'm rubbing it all, I'm flipping my bird, and I'm rubbing it all on the back, getting the wings in there and the legs in there, and making sure you got a good amount on the inside of the bird, and we're gonna go back in there and get under the skin. After this part is done, since we had some herbs left over, we're gonna pick up some thyme and we're gonna put it inside the bird. If you like a little bit of a citrus flavor, you can put a piece of lemon in there. I am not going to come to your house and say, hey, why do you do that? You do whatever you want. But I'm saying this is the time to flavor things with things that you like. And then to get fancy, I have a little piece of twine. And this is not just fancy, but it's also to keep the chicken, in this case, cooking at about the same time. There's this different techniques of doing this. I am just tying it around the legs, and I'm just doing a simple tie. And what this is going to do is it's going to keep the legs together, and it's going to keep it cooking at about the same time. After we have it rubbed with this mixture, and our mixture had a good amount of seasoning in it, so I'm not going to go back, I'm not going to put any more salt or pepper or anything. The last thing I wanted to show you is where it's gonna go. So I have a little roasting pan that is here, and that's where our chicken is gonna roast, right? So you want your chicken to be a little elevated so the heat goes underneath. So you could put a rack there, or you can make yourself a little rack with some potatoes, and then you can eat the rack. So I'm getting a little bit of butter in my hands, and I'm rubbing the potatoes so they have some flavor in them. And then we're gonna make a little base for our chicken. Cool. And then we're gonna put our chicken breast up, sitting in there, and then we're gonna throw it in the oven. A bird like this at 350, it's gonna take about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, but we will revisit it in the oven at about 2/3 of the way just to make sure. It will get nicely golden brown because of the butter and the aioli mixture in there. If it starts drying up a little bit, you can add a little bit of water into your pan, and that will make an awesome sauce eventually. So that's it. I wanted to show you a different way to rub your chicken or eventually your turkey, and it will give you an awesome flavor. So I'm gonna throw it in the oven, and we'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright guys, this is it. Our chicken is out. This is the one that we rubbed with the aioli that we made with all the fresh herbs. We got in there underneath the skin, and you can see the color and the texture on this. It's going to be amazing. Remember, this is going to help you for Turkey Day. So use this rub if you want to, and give it a shot for your turkey dinner because it's awesome. The skin is crispy because of that aioli, and that all those herbs are going to flavor our chicken in this case. But you can tell I'm just going to take a little piece of the skin because the skin is going to tell you how good the flavor of the inside is. And it's truly amazing. So please try this one. It's one that's simple. It's one that's going to bring like a new flavor to your turkey dinner or any chicken dinner that you want to make. And I want to see you here next week at A Seat at My Table. Thank you.